Alright, so first off, we're gonna start simple here. A 1909 Lincoln wheat penny here. Now this was struck 10% off center, so a very noticeable type of error. It's very simple. There's tons of off centers on all kinds of different coins if you guys are new to coin collecting, and this penny sold for over $4,000. Now some of these of course are not going to sell for anywhere near that. We'll look at some of those here later in the video. But let's move on to this coin here. This is the 1943, well, supposed to be the 1943 Jefferson nickel. However, this Jefferson nickel was struck on a 1-cent planchet, and that 1-cent planchet was actually the steel planchet. So you know, in 1943, when they made the steel pennies, this is the planchet that the nickel was actually struck on. And you can definitely see it. I mean, I can tell by looking at it, but you know, if you're new, you probably can't. So you can definitely see how the design of the coin is being cut off, and of course the weight is going to be way different on this as comparison to a real Jefferson nickel. And actually the Jefferson nickel in 1943 with the P mint mark is supposed to be 35% silver. So we're looking at what is supposed to be a silver nickel. However, it was struck on a steel 1-cent planchet, and this coin sold for over $4,000 as well. But let's move on to a 1944 wheat penny. Now we're gonna look at more modern coins here in the video as we go, but this 1944 wheat penny is interesting because it was actually struck on a 1-cent coin that is from Nicaragua. So that is very interesting. So a foreign planchet, a foreign penny basically, is what the coin is being struck on. You can see that in 1944, these coins were supposed to weigh 3.1 grams as they were the copper. However, this one weighs 2.5, and this is the coin that, or you know, a coin that is similar to it that the coin would have been struck on. The 1944 wheat penny, this is the coin planchet that the coin would have been struck on. So this coin did sell for over $3,000 because of that mint error. Next up is a 1954, very noticeable type of mint error coin here. This Lincoln penny here was struck 15% off center, and of course we got a double clip here taking place as well. We see the 1954 full date, you see that it's off center, see the clip, very noticeable. Of course, something like this probably not going to fit in a penny roll, and would definitely be difficult to find in pocket change, but hey, you just never know. This coin here sold for over $330. $330 US dollars. Alright, next up, this is probably my favorite, one of my favorite coins of this video. It's a 1963 Lincoln penny. Now you see here on the front design, looks totally normal, nothing's wrong with it. However, here on the reverse, we have that struck through a capped die. So that is really cool. Cap die coins, some of my favorite type of errors to really look at, man. Really, look at this. You got the no reverse on the coin. You got the design of the Lincoln penny essentially looking backwards. So that is really cool. I love this type of error. This coin sold for over $370. Moving on to a 1968 S mint mark. Now this Jefferson nickel here is a double denomination as it was struck on a 1-cent coin. So you can actually see the word Liberty from the Lincoln cent that the coin was struck on. You could see the date 1968 there going through Jefferson's head. And then here on the reverse you actually see the Lincoln Memorial Building going through the design of the Jefferson nickel as well. So that is really cool. This coin sold for over $1,000. Now if we move on to another Jefferson nickel, this Jefferson nickel looks completely normal, like it has no types of errors. However, this coin sold for nearly $1,000 because it was struck on a Liberian 5-cent planchet. And here is that coin, the Liberian coin, similar to what the coin would have been struck on, the Jefferson nickel. So that is really, really cool. Always weigh your coins. This coin only weighed 4.1 grams. Next up, these are really cool. I've covered some similar to these. It's a 1972 Lincoln penny. It looks like it's gold, like it's goldish tone, and that's because it was struck on a Philippine 5 centimos planchet. And here is that coin. the 1972 5 centimos coin, that's where it gets that gold coloration from, is that coin's planchet. And it only weighed 2.4 grams, 2.41 grams, and it was supposed to weigh 3.1 if it was the copper penny from 1972. So this coin sold for over $1,100, $1,100. Same with this coin here, 1972D. However, instead of being struck on a 5-cent planchet, this was struck on a 10-cent planchet from the Philippines. So this is the coin that it would have been struck on, the planchet that it would have been struck on from the Philippines. And you can see that coloration there in the coin itself. So this error penny here sold for $950. So nearly a $1,000 coin again. Now here we go, pretty self-explanatory looking type of error here. It's been double struck on a split planchet before the strike, and you know, you can see that. It's very noticeable. These aren't gonna last in, you know, coin rolls from the bank very long. First person that finds something like this is obviously gonna snatch it up. It's something that everyone can see with the naked eye. You don't need a coin microscope, which I do have coin microscopes available on couchcollectibles.com for looking at your coins up close for different types of errors that you need those for. But this coin you wouldn't need a coin microscope for. It's sold for over $500. Alright, so here's a 1998 D Lincoln penny that was struck 20% off center. The coin only sold for around $75. So that is a big difference from the 1909 that sold for over $4,000. Alright, next up is a 1999 state quarter, a Georgia state quarter that has been broad struck. So you can really see that there around the rim of the coin, and you can see that there on the reverse as well. So that is pretty noticeable as well. You don't need a coin microscope for anything like that either. And this coin here sold for a little over $70 US. Next up is a 1999, again, state quarter. However, this is the Connecticut state quarter, and this is a late stage cap die. So essentially what we looked at before with that penny, it's a cap die error taking place. And if you guys are really not familiar with a cap die or what it is, here's what a die is. You know, it's got the design of the coin and it imprints it there on the planchet to create the coin, if you guys are not familiar with that. And basically what a cap die is it is caused when a coin is struck and the coin sticks to the upper hammer die. So once the coin is struck to the die face, the reverse of the struck coin becomes the new die face. So the coin adhered to the upper die is known as a die cap. This basically process repeats itself and more coins are struck by the cap. And because of that error, this coin sold for a little over $200 US. Now if we move on to a Roosevelt dime, this coin here has been double struck with the second strike being 40% off center. So that is a very noticeable type of error as well. You can see how it's been double struck and the off center, of course. And this dime sold for over $500. 500 bucks. Alright, so moving on to a 2010 dollar coin. This is the presidential gold dollar coins. And you can see that around the rim of the coin, we got an error taking place, and that is a broad strike. It's been broad struck, and it is missing the edge lettering. So if you're not familiar with that, here's an example of those presidential dollar coins with the edge lettering. So if you look around the edge of the coin, you can see the date, the mint mark, the phrase "In God We Trust," "E Pluribus Unum." But this coin is missing the edge lettering as well as having that broad strike error taking place on it. Now this coin here sold for nearly $400. Around a $390 coin. Alright guys, until tomorrow, don't forget to subscribe in the middle, check out the videos to the left of me, and until then, I will see you all in the comment section below. This is Couch Collectibles, and this is where I disappear.